Naya. Naya, Naya, Naya. As Alex said, I am shocked and appalled. Hi, welcome to Rated G TV. My name is Glennis, and you guys always know that you can call me G. Welcome back today, guys. We're back discussing another episode of Ready to Love Season 3. Episode 6, entitled Friends with Benefits. Guys, this episode, it was an emotional roller coaster. I wasn't too happy with a lot of things that happened in this episode. Well, actually, just one thing in particular that really bothered me. But guys, let's go ahead and get into it so we can discuss and see how I was feeling. The show opens up with Alex and Brian. They're coming outside of the resort, and she is telling him that he'll be meeting her best friend today. After that, we see Simone and Jay talking. Jay is discussing with her about her insecurities and about how, she presented the information to Joy. However, she did discuss and say that she was a little bit bothered and felt really bad about how she put it out there. He did say to Simone, he said, "I forgive you." And that seemed like to relieve her a little bit. In his confessional, he did say he does forgive her, but at this point, she's definitely a no, and he's not looking to speak with her like that anymore. The first couple that we see that are on a date with their friend is Naya and Chris. Now, Naya does bring her sister cousin. Looks like they're playing a game of chess on the lawn. Chris does tell her he is a radio personality and he is a family-oriented guy. Looks like the conversation did come up about church, and if Chris attends church. He did mention that he is an ordained deacon. It looks like Naya seems a bit pleased about what Chris is saying. She's loving everything about him. Now, Naya's cousin does ask Chris about his thoughts on the finances. Basically, if he feels like the man should take care of the household, or if the man does believe that they should split the bills 50-50. Chris, he basically says that he believed they can split the mortgage, or however, she want to split everything. I can look at Naya and tell that she wasn't too pleased with his answer. Guys, let's remember Chris is a radio personality, and he does have to be mindful. Chris's confessional, he does say that, the women of today are a little bit different. Some of them are independent to say, I have my own money. I don't need you taking care of me. And you have some women that, want the men to come in and take over the finances and be in charge of the finances like a man should. So it sounds like Chris is really trying to be politically correct because he doesn't understand, what type of woman Naya is in that sense, because she is an entrepreneur. Now, Chris can tell that vibe kind of changes a little bit, and it causes him to leave and tell the girls, go ahead, and I know you want to discuss some things, so he's going to go ahead and leave. Naya seems a bit disappointed that he's leaving, but I think it's a facade. She wants him to take over because Naya has said before that she's had 4 miscarriages. So she feels like when she does have to, carry a child or so like that, then she wants to be able to be at home, and she wants the man to be able to be financially stable. Now, Chris did mention before he walked away that he knows as a radio personality, he doesn't make too much. He believes Naya probably makes more money than he does. And I just think he didn't know what to say at that point. The same way when Alicia asked him what he think about the whole Brian thing, he was after Naya says that, her cousin does say to her that she feels like Naya is jumping the gun a little bit and that she needs to calm down. And she does remind her that she has her own money and that they can work past that. So basically, Naya's cousin is pretty much saying that, hey, you're still early in a relationship. You guys need to sit and talk about your expectation is. I don't mind Naya putting that out there, especially when you're in your 40s. You don't have time to waste. So you kind of want to see where the man is so you're not wasting your time. In between that scene, it was Brian and Alex is with her best friend, and they're talking at the pool. Now, Brian tells her friend that he is a proud father of a 3-year-old girl. She does ask him, has he ever cheated before? He says, of course, when he was younger. Now, he does go in to say that him and the mother of his child were never together. It's just, happened that they have a child together. Now, she does say what I said on the casting special, that Brian has a 3-year-old. So it's not that much mature. You could have done that quickly. Who knows? I could be wrong. That whole interaction with the three of them, the vibe seems a bit weird between them. Not as chill before as normally that Brian would be. He does leave, and that leaves Alex and her friend. Alex's friend does tell her that she gets a vibe off like she's really not into a guy. There's a certain vibe that she's giving. And her best friend does tell her that's the vibe she's giving. So her friend pretty much tells her she feels her guard is still up when it comes to Brian. The next scene, not a really long scene, is Edwin and Winter. Looks like they're playing a toss-it game. I can't remember it, guys. Put in the comments if you can tell me the name of the game when they throw the bing bang in the hole. It seems like they're enjoying their vibe and their questions as far as that. The next scene we see is Alex, Chris, Joy, and Simone. They're all at the pool. Chris does confide in the ladies about his date with Naya and her cousin. He tells them about his answer regarding the question that Naya's cousin posed to him regarding the finances. He says he does regret his answer and that he felt like he really didn't know what to say in the moment. He does tell them that he wants to have a follow-up conversation with her regarding this. Joy and Simone and Alex do coach him in what to say. Joy does bring up the fact that she does reveal that it doesn't matter to her regarding the guys. If they want to stay at home and cook and clean and take care of the children, that's cool with her. It's going to relieve her either way. But whether he's the main head of the household and she's the one doing it or vice versa, anyway, it's different for her. She's just a different woman when it comes to that. It's almost like you got to kind of talk about it and tell a man straight up what kind of woman you are, or you can ask that question, but kind of pose it in a way. And I'm going to go into that a little bit later in a second. There is a brunch date with Joy, Winter, Jay, and Edwin. Also with Joy and Winter are their best friends. So Joy's best friend and Winter's best friend. So her friend gets in there. I have a friend like that. She gets straight in there. You think you're talking to a reporter. Winter's best friend asks Jay, what's the difference between Joy and Winter? And so Jay does give a political answer and pretty much talks about both of their strength and their energies that they bring. Joy's friend does follow up and asks Jay who's his top pick between Joy and Winter, which sometimes, friends, sometimes we gotta be mindful of the mood. You can read the scene or you can read the energy in you guys' area. You can see by Jay's energy who he's favored to more because of where he sits and who he tends to more. And even when he's walking up on the scene, whose hand he's holding or walking side by side with when he's coming for them to sit down and have brunch. Which I noticed, guys, I never see anyone eating. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it alone. You can watch who he tends to first or who he's connecting with the most in that moment without posing that question to him. Because he does try to not give an answer, but they force him to give an answer, so he does ultimately say that it is Joy. Now, the way he does frame it, he does say that he connected with Joy first and he has a stronger connection with Joy. So right now she's his top pick, and him and Winter have just really recently have been connecting. So he tries to put it in a political way to try not to hurt Winter's feelings, but I can tell in her confessionals that she's a little upset, a little bothered by it because she doesn't want to be anyone's second pick. They pose the same question to Edwin. Edwin, if you listen, he technically does not give an answer, but he tells them what kind of person Winter is. And I believe he tells them what kind of person Winter is because Jay just pretty much said that Joy was his number one. So he wanted to bring, something back to her so she doesn't feel bad at the table by having two guys possibly say they connect better with Joy. He says that he doesn't feel like he has to compete with Jay, but the way he answers his question, I kind of feel like he wanted to say that he's feeling Joy the most, but he kind of words it where Winter doesn't feel bad about the situation. I personally think that Winter and Edwin vibe more because Edwin, I don't want to say he's serious all the time, but he's very deep. He's just one of those thinkers and talkers to where, you know, you need someone that's going to bring in some life into him. And I feel like Winter is a good balance. She's going to bring in that peace, and she's going to bring in that joy and that fun side that he would need. But after he pretty much answers that question, they ask Edwin, what is his support system? He does tell them his support system is his sisters and his mother. Now, the women, however, feel like the sisters have a heavy influence on who he chooses. So they did ask him, do you think that your sisters always hate on, or do your sisters always not like who you have or around? Or whatever. He says no. You know, I can just tell they're just a close-knit family, just like my brothers. They might call me and ask me about something, and I might give them my input on something or input on what they're asking, but I always tell them the ultimate decision is you, because you guys are grown men. That's what I pick up what he means with a support system, not necessary. Edwin seems like a grown enough man to be able to be like, hey, you guys, you're too much in my business. This is where I'm going, and not allow his sisters to get too much in the business. So with all of that being said, Jay and Edwin do, however, leave, and it leaves Winter and Joy and their friends to talk. In the next scene, we see Edwin and Naya. They're talking at the pool. Naya says she wanted to sit down with Edwin and talk to him because, you know, she felt like there's some type of connection there. It is right after her date with Chris. Think it not strange? However, Naya does ask Edwin about his position on the roles of finances in a relationship. Now, when Naya posed this question to Edwin, excuse my face expression because I am showing my emotions, okay? When Naya posed this question to Edwin, go back and watch the episode, or let me know in the comments, let me know what you think. The way she poses the question to Edwin, she pretty much gives him the answer she wants him to say. So she tells him straight up what kind of woman that she is and what she kind of expects for a man and what she's not going to tolerate. When she asks that question, Edwin basically, of course, says that as a man, he will assume financial responsibilities, and he recognizes that all men cannot do that. Chris essentially says the same thing to her when he tried to rebuttal his answer. She seems like she's kind of turned off with Chris, but I felt like she kind of coached him into what to say without saying it. We see that she begins to massage Edwin's head, and then all of a sudden she kisses Edwin, and it seems that he's enjoying it for the moment, but it appears when he pulls back, he's kind of caught off guard. He does say in his confessional that she kind of flips the script on Chris, and he's kind of shocked by that. You know, he's kind of caught off guard by that because the men always discuss who they're feeling the most between each other, and he knows Chris and Naya have been the ones that connected the most. Even though he felt like he had some type of connection with Naya, but if you watch after it's over, he, you know, drinks his champagne. He was contemplating the aftermath of that kiss and what it means, and, you know, what decision that means probably towards which man may go home, or if decision that he's gonna probably have to make. I do feel that Naya, she does bring up the whole thing about carrying babies. I'm not trying to be biased in this. Or is she on here for love, or is she on here to find a donor? Because she brings up the thing with the babies, which I understand you want to make sure people know that you want to have kids. But it makes me feel like, you know, you're trying to find the best financial person for you to have a child with, to make sure they take care of you. That's all well and dandy, but sometimes it kind of comes off that you're just looking for a donor. All right. So after that scene, we have Chris and Naya. They're talking at dinner. Chris is trying to clarify what they discussed about the finances earlier. Naya seems like she heard him but wasn't listening. She seems to be very dismissive. Naya says she would rather have 35,000 more talks with Edwin in her confessional, and then smiles. Now, me and my daughter was discussing this, and we were trying to determine, was this a dig? She didn't think it was a dig. I was like, that was a dig at Chris. I told my daughter, look, she still said it, and when she made that smile, she meant it as a dig to Chris. With all of that being said, Naya does say she knows that he was not taught that way. So Chris was not in a situation where he grew up to where he was taught that a man would take care of the household in that manner. Now, I don't like the fact that she says that she understands that he doesn't know that, but still is not understanding to give him the benefit of the doubt, like another chance. I want to say this, when Chris is sitting at the table and Naya is talking to him, Chris' whole body language changes. He's most of the time you see him in scenes with Naya, he's very confident because he's Chris, aka Mr. KG Smooth. You know, he's very confident and everything. But in this scene, it gives me like, you know how you guys, I don't have any pets, but you know how you have your dog and the dog may have gotten into something or maybe used the bathroom in the house. You know how you have to talk to your dog and say, hey, George, this wasn't good. No, you shouldn't have did this. And the face that the dog gives because they know they have done something wrong. That is what I was getting. I felt like she was disciplining him. She was talking down, you know, on him because his whole demeanor, everything just changed. It is the next day and Adriana and her friend go on a date with Rashid. Adriana's friend is very gorgeous. She's very pretty. I told my daughter, I said in the scene that when Rashid is walking up to greet them, I was like, man, if I seen Rashid, the way he walks and carries himself when he walks, I would look at him, take a second look. But then I feel like if I'm in the mall somewhere, say like Fitz Plaza or maybe Lenox Mall, and I see him walking, I might greet him and then I feel like he's gonna say, hey, yeah, you know, I was just shopping at, you know, Neiman Marcus buying me some pajamas, and then him opening his mouth, I would change my mind in a heartbeat. But anyway, Rashid does talk about his son and the mistakes that he's made in the past and how he felt like the reason behind his divorce and things like that. But of course, he's learned a lot from that. Rashid does leave the conversation or leave the ladies to talk. She does tell Adriana that she does like Rashid for her. And at that point, Adriana does bring up Cal Funny. And she brings up Cal Funny by saying, it's this other guy that I like. You know, he's tall, he's chocolate, this, that, and the other. And her friend's like, okay, Cal Funny. Go back on the last video I just posted, and I just said in that video that I feel that Adriana and Cal Funny is just an exterior thing. I don't feel like it's a deep connection. I think it's like an infatuation. I'm just attracted to you, maybe some sexual attraction. When she says this to her friend does know. She says she feels that the way she describes Cal Funny, it's just surface level. And it doesn't seem like they have a connection. The next scene, we have Denise, her best friend, Cal Funny, and Anthony. Anthony seems a bit confused that him and Cal Funny are meeting together with Denise, and eventually she does introduce her friend to him. Her friend does ask Anthony, has he ever cheated before? And Anthony does say he has cheated when he was playing football, and that probably was in college. Now, the question, ladies, you know, we're always asking somebody if they've cheated. And sometimes that could have been the fact they could have been in a high school relationship and they could have cheated. Could have been in college, they could have cheated. They could be 60 years old and might have cheated when they was 25, you know. And the question should be posed as, have you cheated recently? Because it gets a little like, okay, guys, come on. Let's make it more recent so you can get the real answers out of them. But anyway, she poses a question to both Cal Funny and asking them their roles as men in the relationship. They both say a man should be the head of the household and they should take care of the family. Cal Funny goes in a little deeper and talks about the spiritual connection that he has to have with his significant other. He talks about breaking generational curses. And in the background, Denise seems slightly tearing up in the eyes. It just might be me, but it looks like she was tearing up in the eyes. Now, she says in her confessional, I know she was joking, that she says she thinks she loves him. They do leave, and they leave Denise and her friend to talk. So her friend asks her who she thinks is a better fit for her. And she does say Cal funny. Now, I do notice, unless I'm just seeing things, you guys let me know in the comment. I do notice that, you know, when Denise is hugging Anthony goodbye, Cal funny is looking over there and watching. He does say in the confessional that he's not tripping at Denise's connections and hope she keeps that in mind with him. And I'm assuming that hope she keeps that in mind with him and Adriana, because it looks like he's going to go, you know, try to have some fun with Adriana. And a friend does say she feels like Cal funny is the better connection for Denise. In the next scene, the ladies meet with Tommy in Tommy's Tavern. It's a lot of stuff that went on in here, and a lot of body languages. You guys have to make sure you pay attention with the women. Tommy starts by asking the ladies how did it go with their friends. Winter says she had a date with Edwin, Jay, and Joy along with her friends. She does say that her friend does not like Jay or Edwin for her at all. She says that Jay was a little salesy. I like how she says it, stealthy. I really like Winter. Joy says her friend does say that Jay was a bit of a showman. She was feeling Jay more and her friend told her no. And that her friend feels like Edwin is better for her. Now I noticed that the camera person or who's ever editing, you guys are so good. You see a little slight shot of Naya and it looks like she tenses up every time Joy or Winter brings up Edwin. Sometimes it's hard to turn off your occupation, just like with Simone. She's a lawyer, and sometimes she can talk as if she's putting someone on trial. Jay, I think he's in the real estate, and so you have to talk a certain way to kind of sell yourself. So I think he doesn't know how to turn it off a little bit. So that could be what the friends are picking up when it comes to him. Denise does say she had a date with Anthony and Cal funny. Her friend does prefer Cal funny and the deep connection that they have. They shoot the camera to Adriana. Adriana looks very hurt by this. I think it's funny because her friend just told her she don't think she has a connection. But it looks like the wheels in her head are turning. I don't know if she's gonna start some more mess or start another war with Denise to get her out of here. Adriana does talk about her friend meeting Rashid and that her friend likes Rashid for her. Naya. Tommy says to Naya that he thought that she was gung-ho about Chris. She says she was never gung-ho about anybody. Naya says, I don't know who that is. I was just obliging his interest. At first the ladies laughed, but when she said that she was just obliging his interest, Denise said, "Ooh," it was like a what the hell? Like, where did that come from? Even Joy side eyes her when she says that, because you know Joy and Chris are friends. She has this look like, I know you're not talking about my friend, but I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna let you finish. But she does talk about the conversation that she had with Chris about the finances. Simone does try to come in and kind of stick up for Chris or defend Chris. She, in a nasty way, cut her off and says, we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about what happened. I guess what happened on their date. And Simone goes, ooh. And it does show Alex face expression when Naya says all this. It goes into Alex's confessional. And she says she is shocked and appalled by what Naya has said, because Chris has been into Naya since day one. And she felt like he has put so much interest into Naya that he could have connected with somebody else. He could have been connecting with other people. I don't know if she was eyeing Edwin from the get-go. Now, if I was in that predicament, I probably wouldn't have looked at Edwin, but his personality has grown on me. But for her to say that she just was just obliging him, so from day one, Naya, you never liked Chris? You never liked Chris? That was crazy. Because when he said he felt like he wanted to kiss you, you kissed him first. And so I don't understand why you were throwing him all of these signals like you was into him. As Alex said, I am shocked and appalled, because Chris could have sat there and connected with other people that were into him. During this, Joy is looking at her and looks like she is not here for Naya putting her mouth on Chris the way she is. The next portion, Alex does talk about her friend. Her friends feel like when it comes to Brian, she still has her guard up, so she needs her to be more careful and not, be so quick to jump into it and rush it. Put Brian and Chris in the bottom. Of course, they put Brian in the bottom because of the whole thing with Alicia, and then Of course, they put Chris in the bottom because of Nia. Denise is the one who has a conversation with Brian. She pretty much tells them that the ladies didn't like how he handled the whole Alicia situation and that he needs to work on that. All in all, she tells Brian he's staying. Joy is the one that does have the conversation with Chris. Chris is her friend, so she does feel like it should be coming from her because Nia has did a total 180, guys. I don't understand how did that happen. Joy pretty much tells Chris that, of course, they've decided that he's not ready to love. Joy does give Chris a hug and he sits there for a little bit. He says he is hurt. In his confessional, he said it's going to take him some time to kind of get over this situation because he felt like he had a true connection with Nia. Ain't no way in the world you can just flip like that, do a whole 180 like that by, you know, a brief conversation. My friends tell me I can be a little bit mean. I don't tolerate too much, but sometimes somebody may say something wrong in a moment. I don't be so quick to flip on you so much. Now, we are in a new season. Sometimes you don't got time to waste, but the connection that she had with Chris, you know, they could have had a better conversation. At the end of the day, if Edwin makes it until the top 3 with them, he's going to pick either Joy or Winter. I don't see the whole Nia thing. You still got to play the game right. That whole switch, I was really, really disappointed. But, you know, let's talk. Leave your comments below. I do respond to everybody's comments. I like the engagement. Talk to me. Tell me what you thought about the episode. Tell me your perspective and what you're thinking about the episode. But that is ultimately all I have for you guys today. All right, guys, don't forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe, and click that notification bell so you'll be notified of new videos to come. See you soon.